Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable week. Despite everything, this has been a good week for me. Uh, this has been a good week. I'll leave it at that. But I am excited. By now, you probably know that on the 21st, which is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I'm holding a master class on crushing limiting beliefs and we're using the very basis of my course that I created some years ago called Crushing Limiting Beliefs that has been used in institutions and literally has been sold to quite a few people by the organization I originally licensed it to for 5 years. And so you may be asking yourself, why should I attend this class? And what benefit would I get out of attending it? And is this just the next thing, another thing? Somebody sits down, you watch, and you walk away with nothing. And my first response, I'm going to answer that for you in levels. The first and most brief response is you should attend because that day I'm going to take the name of everybody who enrolled, whether they attend or not, and I'm going to put it in a bag and I'm going to draw two of those names. And the two names that I draw, I'm going to give them a platinum coaching or counseling, depending on what you need, package with yours truly. That's 52 sessions over the course of a year with me. It's my flagship program. It's regularly priced at $10,500, and yes, people do pay to do it. I am good at what I do. Um, I know what I do well. So that's the first reason you should. The second reason is extremely affordable. It's $150. So for $150, you take a chance on winning a $10,500 package, but you also get to sit in and address issues that are plaguing people who are sitting in a position of average when they are designed to be exceptional. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. If you're studying your design, if you are a person of faith, regardless of what faith you come from, if you are a person of faith, then you believe that there is a source. You believe that there is a creator. You believe that there is something exceptional and extraordinary above and beyond you that has control of everything. And that source is where you should be leaning into. But let's talk about the source and the power of the source. And in one way, shape, form, or fashion, if you're a person of faith and you believe in the source, you believe the source is omnipotent, meaning that it is all powerful, or he or she is all powerful, whatever your thing is. I'm not here to tell you how you should approach God, the source, the most high, the almighty, whatever. That's not my responsibility. That's for you to figure out. But whatever the source is, it's omnipotent, meaning that it's all power. Good morning, Louise. It's all powerful. Second, it's omniscient. What does that mean? It knows, or he knows, or she knows. It knows everything. This source is unbelievable. It knows everything. One of the ways I finish my morning meditation every morning is that no matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it's nothing but an illusion. And um, and it's nothing but illusion, because there can be no undesirable circumstances to the mind of God. Why? Because God knows everything. So we start that. So you got this omniscient, unbelievably powerful super uh, entity that most refer to as God. And here's God designing a specific something. And why would God design that thing less than perfect? Why would a perfect God design something inferior? And so the design is perfect. Well, what happens then? Because I'm not perfect. Well, what happens is anything, no matter how well it is designed, can be contaminated. It can be compromised. It can be thwarted. And over time, there have been ways that we have not taken care of our bodies, we have not taken care of our minds, we have not taken care of our environments. It has shortened our lifespan and so much more. So then what you have to understand is your design is impeccable, extraordinary, phenomenal. It was meant to do some things. Your design, now here's the important thing that you have to understand. Your design is a reflection or an indicator of your purpose. When you study the design of something, if you study it well enough, it'll tell you what it was meant to do. Well, when you study your design in its purest state, it'll tell you your purpose. There's a way you move that's unique to you. Now, all of us are human. All of us have a lot of characteristics that are similar, very similar, or even identical. If we're born healthy and everything, we all have a brain, we all have four limbs, and a bunch of other things, but there's some uniqueness and idiosyncrasies that are literally ingrained in us in our DNA when we're born, and it's a part of our gift. And then there's a spiritual implantation also that is a part of our gift, and our gift is to take us in places where we do things that are exceptional and extraordinary. We were never meant to be average. We were never meant to be. Average has become an acceptable state of being, which borders on the line of mediocrity, but everybody's okay with it because everybody else is there. And that was never meant to be. Everybody was supposed to be doing something exceptional. Everybody was supposed to be doing something extraordinary. And the more that we get away from that exceptional performance, the more we get away from that phenomenal state, the worse the planet becomes, the worse the environment becomes. We are declining because we, as the keepers of what God has left us, have declined. We've declined in our health, our mental health. I'm going to be doing a video on mental health probably in the next hour because it's that bad. And yet we turn terrible things into normalities. We have an unbelievable, there should be a level of adaptability in the human mind, in the human space, so that we get into environments that are not something we're normally acclimated to. We adapt to it and we do our best while in it. But it should not be a situation where we adapt and then settle. So yeah, there are going to be some bad days. There are going to be some difficult moments. There are going to be some challenging times, but that should not be where we hang our hat and what we become used to and what we are willing to set. And that is something that you have to gain an understanding of, is that you have a responsibility to your designer to live life at the level of your design. But you're failing. Why? Because you've bought into the narrative and the stories that are being told about you and about the world around you. You have accepted a position less than what you were designed to be. You have accepted a position of average. You have accepted a position of mediocrity. You have accepted a position of poverty. You have accepted a position of meandering through life and just simply existing. You have accepted a position of simply surviving because that was the narrative that was handed to you. And there was no other narrative being told when it was handed to you. So you accepted the narrative based off of the environment that you were encapsulated in. And then you decided this was my lot in life. And you haven't even pursued anything close to what you're capable of. You may not have even examined yourself to understand your design. Why do I think this way? Is this the natural way I think, or is this something superimposed upon me about the people who had an influence on me when I was developing? Or is this what do I do well? Why do I do it well? Why am I so gifted in this area? How could I use this to expand my reach? How could I use this to expand and intensify my impact? How could I become a person who touches lives? Because see, that's what it's all about. It's not about you. Now, there are some ancillary benefits to touching lives. See, it's about changing people's lives. It's about making the world better. It's about serving a purpose. Now, when you do that right, you are rewarded in so many different ways, not just monetarily, but you are rewarded in many ways. But you have to be in the right place, doing the right thing, and be committed to it. There's something here in this world you were sent to do. The shameful part about it is the vast majority of people never even get to it. Some of them are aware of it. It's in their mind. It haunts them, but the fear of failure stops them. The idea that I'm not meant to do that. The idea that only people, there are narratives that some people tell people. I've sat down and I watched it. Because they don't believe they can achieve wealth, they have actually adopted the idea that all wealthy people are evil. Why? Because now they can rest on their perceived holiness and say, well, that's why I'm not rich. It's because I'm too godly. Huh. But that's a problem because the abundance of the entire universe belongs to God. And if you are a creation of God and God wants the best for you, why would not God have given you access to all that God owns? So the idea that poverty is somehow some status of purity or some status of righteousness is absolutely ridiculous. But it's a story many tell because they believe they cannot attain the things they see out there. So it's easy to assign to it some negative identity or some negative connotation so that now you can say, well, it's not from God and God would want me to have it. No, God wouldn't want you to burn people to get it. God wouldn't want you to mistreat people to get it. God wouldn't want you to mislead people to get it, but God has it for you. And when you serve your purpose, it opens doors. It says that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that you aren't capable of, but why are you doing it? Because you don't believe. So when people ask me, why should I attend this course on the 21st? Because so many of you need to break those limiting beliefs. Some of you don't even know you have them, but they're so intertwined and embedded and inculcated into the deepest resources of your psyche that they're controlling your decision making. They're controlling your behavior. They have dictated your habitual behavior. Your habits are all things that are working against you. If you want to do something better, you have to change your thinking. You want to do something better, you have to change your conversation. If you want to do something better, you have to change your habits. And guess what's controlling that? Those limiting beliefs. And I created this program with 19 modules. Now we're not gonna approach them through a 19 module process doing the teaching, but you're gonna have the course, so you're gonna be able to go back and refer to it as often as you want to recalibrate, to rethink. And you're gonna have my email address, so you can email me and ask me any question you want to about the course after you go through it. But I'm going to take you through the course and I'm going to show you why you're doing what you're doing. Then I'm going to show you how you stop doing what you're doing. I'm going to show you how you develop new habits. I'm going to show you how you break the curse of those limiting beliefs and that you replace them with liberating beliefs, beliefs that says I can. You know, one of the most powerful things someone ever told me was in high school. It was my 11th grade English teacher, but it was before she became my English teacher. She learned of me by happenstance. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. She was divinely ordered into a space that I was in in my freshman year, and she was impressed by this 15-year-old, and she decided to just pull me aside. So she spent a lot of time with me talking and teaching. She was extremely intense. Almost all the kids in the school feared her. Matter of fact, juniors, when they got their schedules the first day of school, if they had Miss Dewberry, they would literally cry because they had heard of her already and they knew how hard she was. She didn't cut any slack. She demanded excellence at every turn. But she was pouring in. She wasn't trying to break you. She was trying to build you. She wanted you to be prepared because she knew what you had to go into. Well, Miss Dewberry found me long before the 11th grade. And I was actually supposed to be in an honors class. Her class wasn't an honors class. I was supposed to be in an honors class. She went and requested that I be in her class. And she put a big target on my back the entire year because I became the example, not just of the work that we did, not just because of that, because I was an honor roll student, but because of how I approached everything. But one thing she told me before I ever landed in her class, she pulled me to the side and she saw me hanging out with one of my friends from the hood. And she said, I don't want you hanging around him. And I said, why? He's my friend. She said, you know, he may be cool and everything like that, but let me tell you something. There's something about you that is extraordinary. And she said, let me tell you something. Association brings about assimilation. You hang around him long enough, you're going to start pick up habits that's going to inhibit what's inside of you. Let me tell you one last thing. The word can't will never apply to you. Don't ever let anyone use it when defining you. Don't ever let anyone tell you that the word can't does not apply to you. And I went through life and I took it and I believed it because I had looked up to her because of what she was doing. And I loved the way she challenged and I wanted to meet the challenge. So I went into her classroom and I went ham when I got there. And it was, when it started out, everybody, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then it became, hey man, how do you do this? Hey man, when you do this, how do you do this? Well, blah, blah. And it got to a point where that was one of those times I'm helping people. And it has never stopped. But the word can't shouldn't be in your vocabulary. There is an ongoing inside joke within my inner circle. And for those who have been there for some time, there are few, not many, that have been there for some time. They always tell people, the new people who come in, whether they get to stay or not, is another story. But new people come in, and one of the things they tell me, say, if you want to stay in this in this clique, if you want to stay in this circle, don't ever say be realistic. And everybody break out laughing, but the old heads know it's absolutely true. I can't stand that term, be realistic. Be realistic means that I have these limiting beliefs, and I believe this is how the world operates. Anybody that decides to go outside the boundaries of those limiting beliefs isn't being realistic, and therefore I need to put them back in their place. And that is not allowed in my circle. I want you to dream as big as you can. Are you just going to snap your fingers and be there? Absolutely not. But if you put in the work, if you see, I have been failing forward for 30 years. I failed forward into writing and publishing 24 books, starting 47 companies, living in places and traveling to places I could never even imagine as a child, and doing some pretty extraordinary things with people's lives and changing lives and taking people from a place where they came from poverty and trauma to literally sitting up and running a multi-level organization. I actually have helped a person who had Asperger's, which is on the autism spectrum. He is now running an international company, and he hits me up once a month and all excited about what he was able to do. And so I know what I'm capable of. I'm doing things on an extraordinary level, not because I'm special, not because I got something God gave me and didn't give everybody, just simply because somebody told me the word can't doesn't really mean anything, and that I can literally do what I put my mind. And so I decided I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do some things. I'm going to go out and, and the one thing I am grateful for, is that I found myself, because there was a time that I was so successful that I got caught up in me. So it was about what I could buy, what I could drive, where I could live, all those things. How could I present myself? And look at me. And I was waking up every morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, empty. Big house, beyond the wildest imagination of anything. Somebody that got to pay off all mom's debt before she left this place. Take care of her, do things that, just so much before. I'm in my 30s, but when all this has been done, I done all that in my 30s. I haven't even gotten to 40, but so I'm talking about that. But I remember walking around in that house, 30-something years old, rooms I'm probably never going in, on the lake, gated community, just, I mean, 3 Black people in the entire section of this particular gated community. Now it was huge, but this particular section on my street was a former NFL player. Scarface, the rapper, lived next door to him and 3 doors down from me. And a corporate attorney lived across the street. Everybody else was white. And at that time, that was okay with me. Not a big deal, not at all. I'm good. I'm good with that. But at the time, that was the thing, I thought I had made it. I thought I was in that place and realized I was empty. I was miserable, literally. I had to stay around people to get energy to feel okay because I was empty. And I went and I sat down and I talked to the very mentor who started me on my business journey, who told me that I was going to fail forward because I dreamed big. And I asked him, and I'm like, man, what's going on, man? I got all the stuff. He said, you haven't learned yet? As sharp as you are, you haven't figured it out? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, it's not about things, man. You got to step into your purpose. The things are fun, but they are ancillary. They come because you're in your purpose and you're doing what you're supposed to do. You've just learned how to master stuff, but you're not walking in your purpose. What are you supposed to be doing? And it changed. It's not about me standing above people. It's about me pulling people up. And it all changed. And from that day forward, I tell people, first half of my life was about me. The second half of my life is about my legacy. And my legacy is helping people. So when you ask, why should you attend? Your life is reflected in the decisions you make. Your design is perfect. It's flawless. Now, you've done some things to compromise it and taint it, but underneath the surface of the tarnish of your thinking, the tarnish of your thought processes, the tarnish of your corrupted self-image and belief system, the tarnish of your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, is the purity of the design. It's still there. It cannot be in itself tainted, but it can be covered with bad things to the point that it becomes ineffective. And see, the biggest part of it is you don't believe there's something better. You might pray about it. You might talk about it in church, but it's reflected in your actions. When you ask James, the brother of Jesus, when you ask James, well, you know, I got this faith, James. I'm telling you, I got this faith. And James says, well, how do you know you have faith? And James, and you tell him, James, because I said I do, because I claim my faith. And the Bible says this, and the Bible says, Jason, no. Let me tell you something. Faith without what? Works is dead. What do you mean, James? He said, you tell me you have faith and you have no works. I show you my faith by my works. You don't know what I believe by watching what I do. I do what I do because I'm passionate about it. I do what I do because it's where the fulfillment comes. I couldn't fulfill this space in my heart with cars. I couldn't fill it with women. I couldn't fill it with square footage. I tried. I couldn't fill it with trips. But you know what? Nothing makes me feel better than to sit down in front of somebody and watch them smile. I have a client that I got a couple of weeks ago. I can't tell too much of her story. I don't want to put out there, but she had been through it. Abusive relationship, which is not that uncommon with people who come to me for counseling. Abusive relationship, horrible history, and beautiful young lady, just beaten down, and she wouldn't smile. And I told her, I said, before too long, when I sit up and say I'm gonna see you next week, it's gonna trigger a smile. And she was saying, you know, real soft and everything, like she couldn't believe it. She couldn't say it. She didn't feel that her smile, number one, was beautiful. She didn't believe that she had anything to smile for. I was talking to her this week after a session, and I said, hey, that time is coming. I'm about to go. And she smiled. It made my week. With everything that I'm going through, that made my, why? Because there was power in that smile beyond anything she ever knows right now. That's going to show up in what she's able to do. That was her being released from something. That's what I do. And that's what I enjoy. That's the power to be able to look in somebody and see what other people don't see. And people ask, well, why you treat everybody like this? Because everybody deserves to be treated that way. You know, when I'm dealing in the Black community and people sit up and say, well, not all Black women deserve, everybody deserves to be treated. It's not about what I see you doing. It's about what I know is inside of you. Because see, the designer didn't play favorites. That's the beauty of this thing. The designer didn't play for, I'm gonna bless you, bless you, bless you. No, you're just gonna be ratchet all your life. You're just gonna be poor all your life. You're just gonna be mentally challenged and mentally frustrated all your life. You're just gonna be a stepping stool for everybody. No, that came from your environment. That came from constant negative influences around you. That came from being in the wrong place. That came sometimes from your own poor decisions, but it was never God's desire for you. It was never God's will for you. It's not a part of your design. It's not a part of your purpose. It's not a part of your destiny. It's not something you should be looking forward to in the future. You should be stepping back and saying, what limiting beliefs are shutting me out of what God designed me to do? What limiting beliefs are shutting me out of what God wanted me to have? What limiting beliefs are stopping me from being a blessing and a powerful force in the lives of other people? That's what you're supposed to be asking yourself, because in front of you is the story you write. You get to write it. Nobody gets to tell you what you can and cannot do. You are going to determine. The only limitations you have are the ones you accept with your mind. Everything else is a lie. Everything else is a lie. You have the ability to stand up and walk and do unbelievable things. You were designed that way. The problem is you haven't been living at the level of your design. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the 21st when I teach this class. I'm going to be setting you free to actually walk in a space you've never explored before, the space of possibility and unlimiting and limitless possibilities. I'm going to open the gate to abundance, not just in money. See, abundance flows in every aspect and area of your life. You need an abundance of love. You need an abundance of confidence. You need an abundance of excitement, an abundance of joy and happiness, an abundance of fulfillment, and all of it exists. And yes, there is financial abundance, and it cannot be restrained from you. It's not simply meant from some elite group. You have a right to it. You can create it. You can generate it. You can manifest it. It's all possible. I want to show it to you. So that's what I'm doing. Now, when you couple that with the fact that automatic light drives me nuts. When you couple that with the fact that I'm literally going to be drawing names from all people who enroll on the day of the class so that everyone can see me do it, I'm going to draw names. I'm going to draw 2 names out of the 20. I'm accepting 20 people because I really want to engage you. If the class is too large, everybody doesn't get a chance to ask questions, be addressed, and put their challenges on the table. So I want it to be a reasonable size. So I'm only accepting 20 people. So after 20 people, I'll be shutting this down. But out of that 20 people, I'm drawing 2. 2 people are going to be gifted a platinum coaching or counseling or consulting package, depending on where you are in your journey, what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to deal with trauma, it's going to be counseling. If you're trying to expand your business, it's going to be coaching. If you're trying to grow your vision, it's going to be coaching. To me, it's all the same. It's about understanding how your mind is moving and make sure that it starts to produce the right thought patterns, because that'll produce the right speech, and that'll produce behavioral habits and so many other things that are going to help you win. But 2 people are going to get a platinum package. That's $10,500 each. A platinum package is $10,500 each. I'm going to gift it to 2 people that day. So for $150, you're going to get a lesson that's going to blow your cap off. And you stand a chance to win an additional 52 sessions with the person who designed the program. And I'm telling you that I got an old client that reached out not that long ago. Well, actually, I have several old clients that reached out that are actually coming back for another round. I've got clients that have done that platinum package more than once because I get results. And I want to help as many people. If you remember, I told you towards the end of last year that my goal was to change the lives of 1 million people. And obviously I can't sit down face to face with 1 million people. So these videos, those courses that I'm doing on the weekends, all of these are different ways that I'm going to reach people, and I'm going to change lives. I'm going to leave my imprint in this world. People will speak of me after I'm gone. That, to me, that's legacy. You leave a financial legacy for your family, but you leave an imprint legacy of how you touch this world, so that your great grandchildren and their grandchildren will have something to stand on and believe in and be connected to, and a sense of identity. Because, hey, my great 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 grandfather was the dude that did this. That's a legacy that speaks of you long after you're gone. That's what you're doing. You're here changing lives. When you change people's lives, they don't forget you. So I'm telling you, go to the description box, click that link, sign up, and you will receive a welcome email from the support team. And before the day of the class, you'll receive an email probably from me with all the information you need to get started, along with the course itself. And the course, you're going to be able to keep. It's a digital course, but I want to show you something, just how powerful the mind is, because that's what's been holding you back. If you're ready to take that step, I don't care what your challenge is. If you change this, you change it. It's a process, but you change it. I want to show you how to do that as quickly as possible. You can take a long time bumping your head figuring it out, or you can let somebody who knows how show you. My grandmother used to always say, sometimes bought sense is better than borrowed. What she was saying is, you can take somebody else's advice who's already done it and save yourself the hard work of bumping your head, or sometimes you have to learn it the hard way. I learned a long time ago, I'm gonna get as much borrowed sense as I can, to keep from bumping my head when I don't have to. And I suggest you do the same. On that note, I'm out here. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I down eat. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here.